Where we're going to play is the question, and we'll answer that right now with map veto. As you can see, we'll have Black Dragons on attack, and we'll have Ninjas in Pyjamas on defense.
Yeah. You know what? I really wish I had said. I said that match was over faster than most of my relationships. That's what I should have said. That one would have been funnier.
Yeah, I mean...
That one would have been funnier, I think.
Yeah, that would have been funnier because
we can edit
the other
it
one,
in post. We can edit it in post. It's fine.
The other one, you have to have the preface of you being a bad relation. I don't think that's true.
We're not live. This was recorded 2 years ago. We are currently in 2017.
What? That? Okay, yeah. Yeah. And anyway, so we're going to be playing on Oregon. In case you guys were wondering, the map will be Oregon. So that's where everything will be happening. It's cool that we get to see Oregon. I feel like I haven't casted Oregon in a good long time.
It's been a while. Oregon's pick rate has dropped quite a bit amongst teams. It's an insta-ban for a lot of them. You know, stale is the word that has been trotted out to describe Oregon, but it really depends on the way that teams are playing it. And of course, you can't really call Oregon stale if you don't have a Mira available. She's been getting banned quite a bit there. Surprisingly, NIP is one of the best teams in Latin America. They were, for a while, one of the best teams in the world, and one of their best maps, statistically, was Oregon. I'm very surprised that Black Dragon would let this through, and it could just speak to a discomfort with the rest of the map pool. What do you think, though? Chat, we ask you, who's going to win the community vote? And, well, it's going to be Ninjas in Pyjamas. No real surprise there. The old Black Dragons versus the new Black Dragons.
The new. That's important. The second new is important.
Different from last season's Black Dragons and different from the Black Dragons before that, which is currently Ninjas in Pyjamas, if you're following along at home. So,
2 news. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I think Ninjas in Pyjamas is going to be in a good place here. I think that community vote makes a lot of sense, given the recent track record of both teams. And, of course, they didn't know the map. But, yeah, knowing the map going into this, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. What we're looking at here is, I would imagine, that there's probably going to be a Mira ban. You're going to try to take Julio out of action. He is one of their anchors on defense, a support player on tech, consistently one of the most touted and well-spoken members of all of Latin America, but he does get hindered when you see a Mira ban come out on Oregon. And it wouldn't really be a surprise because Oregon is one of the greatest maps for Mira. She single-handedly revitalized the way that Laundry Supply was played downstairs, being able to sit inside of that closet and look all the way towards the bottom of the main stairs over by Laundry. I would guess she's going to be a ban. That's probably going to hinder NIP more than it's going to hinder Black Dragon.
Oh, it's almost certainly going to be a ban that comes out, and I agree with you on that point. Julio's definitely going to suffer a little bit. But overall, yeah, I mean, if you look back, and specifically at Mira, when she first came out, I feel like Oregon was the map that really solidified her as one of the most meta-influencing operators to ever be released in Siege. Because Oregon was borderline unplayable, I think, when Mira wasn't a thing. So definitely was an interesting time in Rainbow Six meta.
And speaking of borderline, she also revitalized that map too. The way that you could hold small office, the way that you could revitalize customs. I can see the look on your face. You rolled your eyes so hard that it generated enough electricity to power this entire studio for the rest of the day. So thank you very much, Michael. Greatly appreciated. We're going to launch into Oregon for our second match of the day.
Yeah, and so we will be starting off with the bans. As you see, Ninjas in Pyjamas starting on defense means they get to ban first. They're going to take out Thatcher, which is going to force a mute ban here from Black Dragons in all likelihood. Now, here's the thing. That's a tactical ban there from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Why? Because Black Dragons really want to ban Mira right here. They really want to ban Mira. But if Thatcher's gone, then you have to get rid of Mute. Otherwise, Mute is going to be a huge play on the bottom floor. And there it is, the mute ban, which means Ninjas in Pyjamas can choose here to not ban Mira and keep the advantage that they were slotted to lose. And they'll get rid of Echo. So there you go. Mira will be in play, Maestro will be in play, and the basement defense is made so much more useful. That right there is Black Dragons getting distracted. And what do I mean by that? I mean, again, the Thatcher ban forced Black Dragons' hands. But here's the thing. Mute makes basement defense much better if you also have a Mira. But Mira is the baseline to that basement defense. So if you have a Mute and no Mira, it's a little bit awkward. But if you have a Mira and no Mute, you could still make it work.
Yeah, that was good banning ultimately to box Black Dragons in here, and something that we actually see quite typically on Oregon, which is, well, you ban the Thatcher, what comes next? You have to ban the Mute. That's it. Because he's so strong right now in the meta, and especially strong when you look at the way that these bomb sites work.
So, as we go into the match, we have a really solid defensive lineup here, thanks to the way these bans played out. Gonna have the Jaeger, the Maestro, the Smoke, and the Mira. Pretty much every tool you could want here. Interesting that we have Psycho on the castle instead of maybe a Legion. Legion is definitely one of the more loved operators on this top floor, especially. So curious decision making from Ninjas in Pyjamas, but I'm sure they have a specific plan for the castle to merit said decision.
When you're attacking upstairs onto these two dorm sites, basically what you're going to want to do is try to police the very few entrances into the site that you have. This is one of the most unfriendly sites to retake because there aren't a lot of avenues for you to get back when you lose control of the site. Basically, the team that has control of this site with 30 seconds to go, or when the plant goes down, usually almost always wins.
There's a few ways you can fool that defense. There's for example, smokes well placed, shields on the attack. I mean, but apart from that, it's really slim pickings, and it's hard to actually attack when whether the attackers have control of dorms or white stairs, or it's the defenders. Either way, it's hard to deal with that hold. Great use of the Jackal track here from Hugzord is going to force the Roamer inside of Armory to fall back. It's excellent efficiency from Black Dragons, and speaking of, they will get the first kill of the match. Panico onto Psycho, thanks to a run out from the castle. That really isn't supposed to happen. Claymores are just meant to distract you, but they do often get those kills. Wag will refrag though, before going down. Not sure if he's going to be finished off because we don't actually know what the heck is happening. But it looks like he's down inside of Master. It will be marked out, and Ilax able to get that final kill. There you go.
This is nothing being able to slow down Black Dragons at the moment. We can touch upon the Legion pick, or Legion pick. We can touch upon the, I got the sponsors on the mind there. We can touch upon the Mute pick, for example, as well, or the Mute ban, and the fact that Mute isn't available to slow people down by being able to deny the information that you need. Pino's just going to go for a bit of a distraction here on the Maestro up top. He has a rotate in through Attic if he needs to get back to site. He's going to pre-fire into Armory. I don't even think he would have netted a kill there if he had hit those shots, because it looked like he missed most of his bullets.
Well, just trying to distract, I'm sure. The Thermite charge inside of Closet will be successful. And there's still a Nitro Cell in the hand of Julio, so he can deny the plant indirectly here from dorms. Nice and safe and snug. There's also Pino still alive with those Evil Eyes possibly still in play. We don't know where they're placed. There is an Ashe and a Zofia, though, so it's unlikely they will be too influential. A lot of this is going to fall onto Julio's shoulders. And Kamikaze at the top of White Stairs. I believe he has a mirror window facing into Generator, but he's going to peek at Iblax and lose his life, which is going to give up a huge position for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's all on Julio now. He has the marks, the information from likely an Evil Eye. Julio will get one, but he's quickly refragged by Iblax, who has been having a fantastic round, and there's the final kill for the IQ of Iblax. Black Dragons take round number 1.
Overall, really good performance here, and this just also plays into the site. Once you lose control of that site, once you have the avenues that are no longer being policed, as I said, by the defenders, it's very difficult for you to be able to hang on. And this site is not very retake friendly, so even if you had to see Nip be able to try to go for a retake there at any point after losing control, it really wouldn't have worked out. At this case, even in a 2v4, dorms can be held onto, so you have to give a lot of credit to Black Dragons for the way that they were able to push into the site and clear out the remaining members of Nip.
I want to critique Ninjas in Pyjamas, though, at the same time. We didn't really get to see much of it. Unfortunately, the cameras wasn't on it for most of the round, but the way they set up their Master and Armory defense was pretty interesting on the Ninjas in Pyjamas side. It just didn't work out. They had the castle barricades pushed far over by the Armory side of that top floor in an attempt to give themselves more ground to cover. But they did it in a very odd way. They were a little too aggressive on Master, and Black Dragons was extremely efficient at clearing out Armory using Hugzord's Jackal track. So overall, good play from Black Dragons, and a little bit of an overextension from Ninjas in Pyjamas. They are going to change their strategy, though. It is clear. They've chosen to bring the Legion instead of the Castle, which is what we expected to see in the first round. And now they're going to be able to tighten up that defense and solidify their anchorage. So, oh, I said it again. I haven't said it in so long, but I said it again.
I feel like once I made fun of you for it at Austin, in DreamHack Austin, you just didn't
say it. Was it really that long ago?
It was that long ago.
Jeez.
You mentioned Anchorage a couple, for those that are out of the loop.
It's a city.
He said, you know, that team is defined, he said this site was defined by their anchorage. Yeah. And I said, you know what else is defined by their anchorage? Alaska.
Because it's a city, it's not.
Because it's a city in Alaska.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know. So anyway, I feel like after that was said, you went silent and you haven't said it again. That's okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. Anyway, moving on from that, I mean, we have a little bit of a tighter defense here from Ninjas and Pyjamas is the point I was trying to get at. And they're not going to be extending themselves into Master or Armory like they did in the previous round. That is a really fast, on-the-fly adjustment from Ninjas and Pyjamas, and it's props to them for changing their operators and their strategy.
Yeah, having the Legion here is a good choice overall. I like what's being brought out from NiP. They just basically need to consolidate their defenses that are going to be playing over, likely on Armory side of things, ensure that you can still hold that attic all the way in. And if Wog or Pino go down, this is going to get particularly heavy. I am a little surprised that there is no breach denial, though. I understand that if you lose control underneath where Wog is playing right now, inside of Generator, that you can lose your Bandit, you could lose your Mute, etc. Obviously, with Mute Band, it would be that there would just be a Bandit in that place to be able to stop that wall. But for the time being, there's really nothing preventing GDN from doing exactly what he's about to do, which is open up that wall outside of Master Closet. It's going to lead into Generator, and Wog is now going to need to move because that's where the smoke was playing. Very interesting choice for NiP to have their bodies there.
Also going to lose Pino, one of the worst operators to have eliminated here. I mean, there's 3 really bad ones to lose at this point in time. But, definitely up there. The flash is going to the top of white. Will be caught by the Jaeger ADS, so that's excellent utility to have. Black's cutting off that roam on the tower, pretty far from the actual action. Ion going for a push on the main hallway. He's not going to find any targets just yet. Ninja Pyjamas are doing a decent job of delaying this, but GDN's actually going to take down Wog, and that's the smoke gone. Gas canisters wasted.
So far, I'm really questioning this utility that's been brought from NiP here on this site. It seems like a very half-hearted idea to defend dorms upstairs. The Legion choice was good, but you, like I said, you lose Wog or Pino, you're in rough shape. This is a great read from Psycho as he's now going to rotate through. There's a drone on him, so he'll be able to pick that one off and continue through Attic as he begins his advance back to site. If NiP is going to hold on. And it's still very winnable. It's a 3v4 on dorms. We know how hard it is for attackers to be able to puncture this site and pierce this site. They need to hold on to 2 points of contact. The first one is going to be the top of White Stairs where Kamikaze is playing. But he doesn't have a throwable available to him. It's going to be Julio who has access to it. He's going to take matters into his own hands here. Panico and GDM both falling on BD's side of things. It's going to put a numbers disadvantage for Black Dragons, and that swing is brutally quick. As the remaining members of Black Dragons will have to push into sight. The ejected mirror window will be right next to Hugzord as he's going to tussle with the carbine of the Jaeger. He's going to get lit up as Kamikaze grabs one, and Julio finishes things off with NiP having a much better hold on that round and really understanding what to do well with a great crossfire being established and the ability to fight for a draw with Julio in the doorway on both Generator as well as the top of White Stairs. Props to NiP for that recovery, and they will lock out dorms for the next 2 rounds with that win.
It just comes down to them adjusting their strategy. Instead of trying to extend themselves, they simply tightened things up and held the site, which is what you were supposed to do and what every other team usually does from the get-go when defending the top floor of Oregon. You can also roam downstairs. It has been done and is a viable strategy, though it has fallen out of favor as of late and seems to be happening a little bit less. Now, moving up from that. We'll be going downstairs, of course, as this is Oregon. We only have 2 really viable bomb sites on this map, top floor and the bottom floor. If the Ninjas and Pyjamas are successful here, they will have to defend either tower or kitchen, which are off sites and hard to hold. The one thing that Ninjas and Pyjamas really has going for them here is they've got all of the operators they could ever want in terms of that Maestro and Mira to deny the plant the bottom of Laundry Stairs. They also have a good array of support operators aside from that. They're going to have an interesting setup on the top floor. It looks like they're going to be investing heavy in holding the meeting hall, as is evident because of the reinforcements in Attic. Often unnecessary, or sometimes actually working against the defenders, because you can use Attic as a rotation if you're roaming deep on the west side.
All right, so let's get things underway here with this 3rd round in a site that NiP typically excels on defense and can do a lot of damage on attack as well. We'll look pretty decently standard with this Mira setup. Not surprised to see Julio playing on that Mira. As I mentioned, I anticipated a possible loss here for the Mira for NiP, but no. Black Dragons got boxed in with that Mute and the Mute ban, so unfortunate for them. I really like Black Dragon's lineup, let's say this much. You're going to need that Zofia to try and lock the mirror down inside of that closet. You can also possibly smoke it off. That's what the Jackal of Hugzord is going to be. And I will say this, I am though a little surprised that we're not seeing a Hibana get brought instead of a Thermite. Thermite is the highest pick rate in Latin America, and I would wonder if a Hibana wouldn't be a better choice here. You use one round of those X-Kairos to take out the hatch, and then you're able to get the mirror window from a farther distance. I suspect that from GDN, he's probably going to try to take out both the wall and the hatch by putting the exothermic charge on the backside of the wall by Classroom, which will open up both the hatch below it, and then the wall too. I'm not entirely certain. Wog's in trouble here, though, at the top of tower, and both he and Kamikaze doing excellent work to pick the Twitch off of Repel. And this one-man stand from Wog, as he's lost half of his HP, will just persevere. Two members of Black Dragons, both the Ashe and the Zofia, not too far off of these stairs, accompanied by Hugzord as well. A beautiful shot from Hugzord to absolutely behead Pino. And this Maestro has been a little too loose, Michael, tossing his life away when the team needs him most.
Definitely a poor position there for Pino to be playing and going to put his team in a difficult situation, especially considering he now has stranded Wog alone in tower. Kamikaze seems to be roaming nearby in an attempt to support, but he might have to fall back to site, and all of this utility being used by the attackers will pay off as Ion repels into T3 of tower. That's good control established from Black Dragons, and they're looking to extend their lead. Psycho inside of Attic is going to be forced to fall back, and Meeting Hall control has now been fortified along with tower. But it's not all lost for Ninja Pyjamas. They still have the site, still have the mirror window, and they only have to defend for 35 more seconds.
That's exactly where it's going to come from Ion. Bob, as he's watching that hatch with Hugzord having an open avenue here inside of blue. That's going to be the bunker where Panico is positioned as well. Ninjas in Pyjamas haven't seen any real fatalities other than Wog, who's at the top of that tower, as we'd mentioned earlier on, but there's not a lot of time at the disposal of Hugzord. The execute will fall around the two smoke grenades in the Jackal's hands as he looks to try to toss them off. The rest of the team will try to jump in, but there will be no smokes. There we go, finally happening. As Julio Kamikaze are there, GDN gets one, but he's taken out by Ion as going down in Hugzord 2, and I completely missed every single step of that call.
Psycho gets the final kill. Ninja Pyjamas take their second round and put themselves up 2-1.
Something's in the water today.
You know,
something's in the water as I flip the kill feed in my brain.
It has been like a year.
Intero.exe has stopped working.
It has been like a year and a half or so since I said Anchorage. You know, I tried to make it. The initial idea behind that, by the way,
Austin was 7 months ago.
Was it really?
8 months ago. It was in June.
I'm not keeping track.
You didn't even know what day Christmas was on. I don't trust you with dates.
Hey, I guessed it correctly, Parker. I will have you know. December 25th, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, it has been, in hyperbole,
I know what you were saying.
A long time since I said that, and I think today is just a weird day for both of us.
It's a it's been interesting for sure.
I think it's the wall of the super month finally hitting us, because we had such. Yesterday was, well, not yesterday. I guess the last broadcast was so good.
I also did the invitational quals yesterday.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And there's currently invitational quals going on right now. Big news: Team Secret bounced from the invitational quals.
So weird.
Losing to Lestream 2-1 on a very close matchup, with that clubhouse being the decider between those two pro league teams. Secret going down and losing to Forza, a Russian team that is not even in Challenger League. And they lost in a 2-0.
And that's
very unfortunate circumstances for them.
That's following beating G2 in Pro League. It's just a bit of an odd week for Secret, I suppose.
Their luck ran out in that G2 match, it looked like.
Yeah, really. So. Well, overall, that was weird, but here we have Black Dragons versus Ninja Pyjamas.
Both of these teams are competing in the Latin America quals as well.
Yes. So that is somewhere else you can see them fight. Now, we talked about if the basement is defended, we will see an offsite, one of the less picked ones on Oregon. It's going to be Tower as the site selected here instead of Kitchen.
And they have no choice because it was a dorms and basement successful defense. So because of this, NIP doesn't really have a choice. They could have potentially gone to Kitchen, but a lot of teams, I think, will instead. Yeah, a lot of teams will not roll the die necessarily with the with Kitchen, just because, well, Tower enables an aggressive style of play that you can really get away with.
Speaking of aggressive style of play, that's a perfect highlight for what you were just talking about. Psycho peeking onto iBlack's going to give his team a pretty easy kill early on. Now, Pino playing at the top of tower T3 is essential for this defense. He must stay alive, and so he is playing extremely passive. If the attackers get control of T3, they will put themselves in a great position to win the round. So that's why Pino is that linchpin. Now, Psycho looking for more kills. He was attempting to peek outside, but going to start to play a little bit more cautious. Wag is kind of exposed, but he's waiting for an opportunity to run out. Speaking of run out, there's the second kill for Psycho, and all outside the building. Wag, again, still waiting for his opportunity, but he has not had one just yet. These Evil Eyes must be helping Psycho. I'm guessing one of his teammates is making these calls.
And we saw 2 of the Evil Eye cams that were outside gathering that information over and over again, which will obviously assist them on those runouts. Tower is a very brainless site for a lot of teams, and the way they choose to defend it is, well, you just pretend that you don't have any thought process whatsoever, and you peek every single thing. Hugzord will be able to take out Psycho, so those 2 kills from Valkyrie will be all she wrote. Julio C4 will down GDN, gets finished off by Wog as Julio flirts with the doorway leading towards the back of the stage, but it's a complete and utter lockout from Ninjas in Pyjamas, who will make tower defense work, and after a sluggish start on that first round, upstairs in dorms, it'll be an impressive recovery, and they'll take 3 in a row.
Yeah, so I think that's exactly what you were just talking about before the action started. The way that you play towers, you need to be aggressive. You have to kill the attackers before they really get in, otherwise it's going to be tricky to dislodge them once they've planted that diffuser. How do you do that? You throw Valkyrie cams outside and you run out. And it worked out great for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Black Dragons not paying attention to those windows. Now, we get to go back upstairs for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and they will be much more comfortable here. It looks like they brought the castle, so they are going to roll the dice on that experimental strategy one more time. But nope, actually, correction. They will 6-pick into the Valkyrie. I think, personally, a really good decision there. The experimental extension towards Master really did not work out for Ninjas in Pyjamas the first time they tried it out. And I'm guessing they just brought that castle to try and trip up Black Dragons, which is great. Great mental game overall from Ninjas in Pyjamas throughout this match. Starting in the ban phase and leading forward, they really have been on top of outplaying their opponents in terms of operator selection.
Black Dragons didn't blink on their lineup either. They know that they have the utility to knock down the castle barricades. 2 frag grenades in the hand of Buck. They've got 4 explosives in the hands of both the Ashe and the Zofia with 2 apiece, so you're going to have plenty of time to take care of any pesky barricades that require that soft destruction that can't be done from Buck's skeleton. Some teams might opt instead to have gone with a sledge here, but I think it's the right call to play with the Buck. And Latin America's seen Buck's pick rate continue, as we saw he had one of the highest pick rates for the region so far this season, and I think that will probably continue on as he has great utility and a good toolkit all around, and was obviously aided by the changes to that C8 recoil as well a couple patches ago that made it a little bit more manageable for most teams.
Psycho, going to be that player roaming vertically on the top floor. Something we didn't see terribly important for Ninjas in Pyjamas the last time they defended here. And he's actually going to fall all the way back. But some great information from his cameras outside. Can call out the west window push and the push into Master with this cam alone. That's a really good piece of information that Psycho has managed to gather. Kamikaze downstairs will take up that place that Psycho was filling of the roamer in the vertical. Just trying to hold the bottom of the white stairs, do his best to support his players on the anchor. Hugzord working his way into Master. This is going to be where Ninjas in Pyjamas have to focus their defense, and it's where Black Dragons are choosing to attack. Have the Thermite ready and moving his way towards Master, but it's going to be slow going here. Black Dragon's not rushing themselves.
Early casualties are never good for any team on any site, really, unless you can force a really favorable trade. This site is no different. But if you're going to be able to try and get away with a numbers disadvantage later on in the round, it's going to happen on dorms. As I mentioned, it's one of the few sites where whoever has control at a set point is in the driver's seat for the rest of the round, unless you have essentially gotten a Pyrrhic victory at that point to gain that advantage in terms of losing utility, losing drones, losing info, etc. So obviously something to keep in mind of here. Psycho with the run out, but there's nobody there. He's going to go for a 1-shot, 2-shot maybe into the lumber stack before he heads back in. He's got a minute to get back to site. Looks like iBlack's actually might have caught him on drone. which will mean that one member of Black Dragons will be permanently tasked with watching flank.
You see, still a slow attack for Black Dragons. I'm just waiting for some picks to be given away by Ninjas in Pyjamas, but it's not happening. NIP are playing exceptionally safe. And that's the exact right call. Drone in the hallway downstairs, as you could just see, but nobody's on it anymore because all the attackers are focusing on the actual push. Wag is going to not pick up that gas canister because he doesn't have time. Needs to deny the plant. The C4 from Julio looks to have been shot mid-air. Panico and iBlacks get their own kills. The flank from Psycho on the white stairs. And oh, what a shot from Psycho to get 2. The diffuser is planted, though, so the attackers, Black Dragons, in a good spot. Ion able to be picked up, and that's really bad for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They need to capitalize on every advantage. Great run out there from Psycho to force Hugzor to think about his positioning ever so much more. The camera is making some excellent marks, and that's 3 for Psycho. He has all the kills for Ninjas in Pyjamas in this round. Black Dragons only have to hold on to half of this diffuser, but oh, look at that. That's 4 for Psycho. He's going for the ace, and he's on the cover with Pino attempting to disable the diffuser. He's inches away from success. Psycho laying in some shots, and he's gonna land at the ace from Psycho on Valkyrie. And Ninjas in Pyjamas retake into Generator.
We joked that every ace that seems to happen is enabled by your casting the other day.
So yeah, Parker and I, after we finished our last broadcast, we were in the taxi going home, and he was like, every single time there's an ace, I'm casting it.
It feels like you could literally cast the final moment of one round out of an entire play day, and that round will have some of the ace thing. I don't know what it is.
It's the
there's the Kickstar magic is what it is.
It's the next invitational final, and one team's got one player left on the match point, series point.
Yeah.
And I start casting, and the one player clutches it in a 1v5.
It's remarkable, but ultimately not to overshadow an extraordinary play from Psycho, roaring back to life with the rest of his team. He's had a remarkably good game so far. And you could see the jump out from the bottom of White Stairs, the read on the Jackal playing on Master Balcony. They take him down, all because of those Valk cams. And that round was won, in large part, in the first 30 seconds of the prep phase, and then the first 10 seconds of live action, when Psycho was able to correctly place those Valkyrie cameras, and nobody on Black Dragons knew where they were, and weren't able to stop the pushes that were able to come because of the information that those cameras provided the rest of Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, so we could say with absolute certainty right now that Psycho is the hero for Ninjas in Pyjamas, not just in that round, managing to get the ace, but also just across the map in this match. He has been placing his Valkyrie cams perfectly, and this is really important. There's no IQ on Black Dragons. They have not been bringing that IQ, so not having that as an option means these cameras are constantly hurting Black Dragons.
I think Black Dragons is approaching this with a very static way of playing Oregon, and I think that's very worrisome. Not only did I mention that this ends up being one of Ninjas in Pyjamas' most played maps, but also the fact that they end up doing quite well on it. But the fact that Black Dragons have not realized that through 5 rounds, they need to make some kind of adjustment on this lineup, that's worrisome for this team. Because yeah, you've got a lot of flexibility on here. You've got smokes, you've got frag grenades, you've got disruption, you've got soft destruction. It looks like a very potent lineup in terms of what it brings, but they need something more specific. And because of this, Black Dragon's inability to be flexible in the face of Ninjas in Pyjamas outplaying them on almost most points of this map, I want to say, that doesn't bode well for NIP on this final round. Obviously, things can change. We're back downstairs on Laundry. Once again, no Hibana being brought.
Well, I mean,
no disruption from Dokkaebi, no Capitao.
I'm not terribly... You're right. Black Dragons are being exceptionally static with the way that they're playing this. And on top of that, they're dealing with Ninjas in Pyjamas who have been surgical in everything they do, from operator selection to the ban phase to their actual play, their strategies. I mean, what we just saw in the last round was beautiful from Ninjas in Pyjamas, specifically Psycho, but apart from just the actual gunplay, again, the fact that they picked the castle, then 6 picked away from it, knowing that Black Dragons would then expect the extension strategy. They baited Black Dragons so well, and they've been baiting Black Dragons throughout this entire match. It seems like Black Dragons are never dealing with what they expect to be dealing with in anything. So overall, this is just excellent play from Ninjas in Pyjamas on every aspect of the game, and you really have to hand them that they earned these last 4 wins.
Yeah. I think that's really no contest for me here. Is the way that Black Dragons have played has been okay on a number of these attacks. Even though I do think that their utility usage could certainly be better.
Yeah.
But overall, that's kind of detracting from the way that NiP has been able to recover on at least 2 of these rounds. You didn't really need much of a recovery on tower because it was a full court press from NiP that I think worked right out of the gate. But when you look at that previous round, they pulled off what very few teams have been able to pull off on any type of high-level Rainbow Six broadcast that we've seen, which is a successful retake in a post-plant on Dorms. So, 20 seconds left as we've dove really deep into analysis because there hasn't been a lot that's happened. And this is going to get real messy. Everybody is still alive. Toxic canisters come in. Preemptive fire from Pino. Wog and Pino will be there. iBlacks trades it off. Psycho is there. A push from the back as Panico takes one down, but Wog is there, and time is running out. Ninjas in Pyjamas just need to hold on. No diffuser going down. And all the action occurring in the span of 12 seconds here between these two teams, aiding the defense. They don't really need to do much. They just need to simply persevere, and that's exactly what NiP does.
Yeah, it might seem like a boring round from an outside perspective, but that was a cookie-cutter basement defense of Oregon. Just a little bit of, I think a faster start from Ninjas in Pyjamas would have put it right in the average of when those attacks normally spring into action. But because it was so late there from Black Dragons on the attack, they really, I mean, they didn't have any chance in that tussle. I mean, when it really comes down to it, that's NiP just waiting for the easy frags to walk into the crosshairs and pressing mouse 1. There's not really anything else to say. And that's exactly what Ninjas in Pyjamas did. Great job on the hold of the basement. Now we will switch to the second half. Black Dragons starting us off in the basement. I think basement is the site that a lot of teams will go to, especially if they're less familiar with Oregon. As it's a little bit more static. You don't really have to think too much about the strategy. A lot of the way this plays out is you can do some things like roaming in meeting hall and attic or even tower. You could delay for a long time. But overall, small adjustments on this basement hole. And I think just making the site kind of your own is the name of the game here. Interesting that the bulletproof cam is going in the attic.
Right. I would imagine that Black Dragon's investment in attic and trying to hold meeting will be their biggest priority, just to try and stave off NiP, who have a certain rhythm to them. And
well, it's not a good start for Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Take your seat, sir. Here it is for you. We have prepared it for you.
Yes.
Goodbye, Psycho. Thank you for all of your hard work.
iBlacks very courteous to prepare that seat.
And that was a single punch hole in garage, and then a 1 or a 2 tap, and that's all it took to sit the Ash down. Really impressive overall.
We still have Ninjas in Pyjamas pushing their way into. It looks like it's going to be a rush. I mean, it's quite clearly going to be a rush. Following the skeleton key. This is because the wall was left unreinforced. A huge mistake. Hogzord's going to take down Pino, and iBlacks gets his second of the round onto Kamikaze. A third for iBlacks, leaving just Julio in the 1 versus 5. And the rush clearly did not work out. It would have been nice to have your 3-speed of Ash in play for that rush, but not the case. And Julio is going to relocate to the main lobby. He's going to have an incredible clutch if he wants to win this.
We'll need a fragmite right here, if anything.
Yeah, definitely a fragmite from Julio. I mean, a 5K as well. I
mean, for NiP, they're obviously hoping that you cast the final 30 seconds in this case in order to empower Julio.
Tell you what, you take it for the next 40.
Okay.
And I'll try to lock out the last minute, and then we'll give Julio the clutch.
If he makes it to 40, this is being obviously very considerate on a round that was over within the first, X amount of seconds there. Julio eating 1 of those goo mines just outside of the dining hall, so he'll work towards the main lobby, creeping ever so slightly at crouch level, just waiting. A goo mine will sail over top to cut off his advance through the kitchen, but that's not where Julio is going to be, so a smart play from Ion. There might be a goo mine in front of the thermite here, and if he does hit it, well, he's in trouble.
Uh-oh.
He sees a body playing on the top of the main stairs, and he's going to swiftly eliminate Ion, but there's one in Classroom, whose now position will be given away. Meanwhile, GDN getting reset from below will give Black Dragons a little bit more stamina in this encounter. And the Doc just peeking around the corner. It's the Magnum. iBlacks using every single thing in his disposal to get the very first kill and the very last kill, and Black Dragons had this round in the bag a minute ago. It was all but a formality for Julio to go down swinging, and that's exactly what will happen. Tried his best. Didn't really get anywhere. And ultimately, a good gamble from NiP on paper, but they just tossed away Laundry Supply Room for at least 2 more rounds.
Yeah, and I I think that the reason they called the strategy to rush in through construction is because the wall was left unreinforced, and you can really get some burst with the skeleton key. Yes, the skeleton key is kind of loud. It's obvious that you're opening up a wall, but it has no warning. With a Habana Excaros or a Thermite exothermic charge, you have a loud announcement and a countdown to when the actual rush can happen. Even with an Ash charge, you have that. With Maverick, it's slow going to open up a wall, and it's very likely one of the defenders will check before you can actually get the rush started. But with a Buck Skeleton Key, yes, you announce it, but you can instantly push your way through the wall and rush to the site. However, it was countered by the way the Black Dragons were set up. I mean, yes, the wall was left unreinforced, but there were all the drop downs opened up. There was Black Dragons roaming inside of Meeting Hall, using those drop downs to their advantage. The anchors were prepared for the rush. Overall, definitely an easy round for BD to hold out. Also, following iBlack's excellent play individually. I believe he got 4K in that round, so props to him for that. Now, Ninjas in Pyjamas will be attacking onto a top floor, as is obvious.
Not again.
Okay, so Black Dragons able to, losing iBlacks early on.
See ya.
So this time iBlacks is the one sitting down, and it's probably because he's playing Jaeger instead of the Doc. Not able to play those long angles without the ACOG.
Bigger visual head hit. The hitbox is going to stay the same, but visually your head, depending on what headgear, of course, the Jaeger is wearing. Kind of a bigger visual head hitbox.
I think every pro player uses that skeleton head on Jaeger. I'm pretty sure, because it's tiny.
Jaeger's head is almost comical. It's almost as big as like the dead mouse helmet when he's playing with his normal default skin. And yeah,
giant ears.
For people that aren't aware, your hitbox is the same no matter what. Your hitbox is not the actual visual unit, it's what's inside that counts.
Yeah, so while you can use Jaeger's skeleton head, it won't change your hitbox. It just makes you have a small head. Anyway, everybody does use that.
Yeah, because I mean, visually you want something that looks smaller. That's the big thing, is it's a mental thing. And obviously if your head looks like it's taking half of the window, as Jaeger's helmet does, then obviously you will be spotted faster. The Doc that was being run as well by iBlacks had that white Operation Health helmet that looks, well, easier to see, is also visually much smaller.
Now, Black Dragons, having lost one player early on, and well, actually, that's not Hookstone on the floor. I believe he's just down to 1 HP. I think I can still see those little ticks in between the health bars. So he's still in play, yes, on 1 HP. He can be reset, though. That was a really well-placed grenade from what I believe was Pino. So good job to the Buck. But that's just going to put him back to 50 HP there. Good job to Black Dragons for being able to get that reset. And that's all thanks to how much time is left in this round. Ninja Pyjamas have been decently efficient thus far, and thus they don't need to rush themselves right now.
Yeah. So, Panico on top of these white stairs, just waiting to see what can happen. Keep in mind that you don't need to have an advantage on this site. As we will say time and time again, it really hinges upon your control of white stairs, your ability to hold off that armory doorway. How different the site would be if that singular doorway at the top of armory leading into generators was a double door instead.
Yeah. How
much better that would be able to assist teams. Either on attack or defense, depending on the way you wanted to set it up. For attackers, there wouldn't be a place for you to sit there, etc. But anywho, Ion returning back to site, realizing that they are down in numbers with iBlacks felled. Psycho will be very quick and very hot on his heels. There's not going to be anything here to stop the Valkyrie, who will get spotted, and very easy for the F2 to be able to get that kill. Psycho makes quick work of Ion. Black Dragons will find themselves yet again down another member of this team. GDN spots the Ash down below, and he's going to hold fire. Oh, that is so unlucky for Wog. Finished off by GDN. Psycho grabs his third kill of this matchup. Pino is there to take out Panico, and GDN's return to site will catch Julio, but they're going to need to plant, and in a hurry. Down below, GDN will need to just get lucky with where this plant is going. He'll find a corpse. Can't really do too much. Every angle back into the site is completely being held, and this post plant will be a harrowing experience for GDN to try to win this one, as he looks to try to avoid match point for his team, but an inevitability. Match point in favor of Nip in another fast match so far today, as Psycho gets a wonderful 4K and is really making his mark on this match in particular.
Don't speak too soon, Parker. This could easily bounce back to being a draw if Black Dragons have it in them. Though all things considered, Ninjas in Pyjamas, I believe, are going to be able to take this one. From what we've been seeing so far, they have been absolutely on top of this match. Clearly, the Spirit team, at least on Oregon, this is definitely their comfort zone. That last round was, I mean, pretty one-sided. Ninja's Pyjamas started things off with that early pick onto iBlacks. I think it was foolish for iBlacks to go for the peak, especially considering he didn't have the ACOG, as that's not something Jaeger has access to any longer. And this is one of those maps where if you're going to be peeking outside, there's so many long angles. I mean, almost all of the spawn peaks on this map are pretty far from the building, so you're going to want to have that ACOG. Hopefully he won't, or hopefully for his team and fans of his team, he won't be doing that again. He won't lose his life unnecessarily.
I feel like whenever you say Jaeger ACOG, like a third of the people watching, their eyes just black out with rage, and the next like solid 20 to 30 seconds just disappear for them.
But you know why that is, Parker? It's because when they removed those ACOGs, they pretty much killed an entire way of playing the game. An entire playstyle just dead.
Good.
And it was definitely, yeah, no, I'm with you on that one, Parker. It took me several months to come to terms with the idea of Jaeger and Bandit not having ACOG, but if you really think about it, it's the sort of playstyle and sort of, you know, thing, it just wasn't good for the game, and it's gone now, and that's good, but...
If you're in a dark place about that, we can still talk about it at some point.
Yeah, but there are a lot of players who don't play in Pro League or competitively.
Michael, I was joking about these people.
Yeah,
I was joking. I don't
anyway.
Yes.
There were a lot of players who don't play competitively. They don't understand how damaging it was.
That's okay.
That's what I said. That is.
They black out with rage. So, final match, or final round, possibly, if NiP is able to pull off a victory here as they sit on match point. We have a very similar scoreline to what we had with the Pain Immortals game. That was a 7-2. It was over very fast. This matchup is barreling towards that as well. Good to see Black Dragons not take a gamble with a spawn peak in the first couple of seconds. That would be extremely detrimental if they had lost a body early on. It would have given NiP a very powerful opportunity to push into that site, relatively unabated especially. It was a Jaeger who has the second best gun, I would say, on the entire team right now, other than the Alda that is in the hands of Panicos Maestro.
Good Valkyrie cams outside here from Black Dragons. About the same that we saw from Ninjas Pyjamas. Valkyrie playing a huge role on this map, as per usual, actually. Ion, speaking of Valkyrie, going to be getting a nice, clean headshot onto Psycho. And that will put Black Dragons in the driver's seat so far for this round, but they're losing a lot of HP on each of their individual players, so there's still potential for recovery here from Ninjas Pyjamas, despite the difficulties that are going to be obvious on attacking this site. Pino is going to be a huge operator on attacking the top floor, as he can deal with a lot of those anchor positions that we've talked about being so very powerful on this site.
It's a bit of a miss there from Ion, unable to eliminate the drone of Julio as it just skirts on by. Which is going to mean that Valkyrie's position inside of the meeting hall is known to the attackers. And that is going to be a problem. As he's now going to rotate through the bottom as Ion comes towards those laundry stairs. iBlack's up top on the white stairs will have to engage in a wonderful shootout against Wog, as the Ash is just going to dare to peek, and if iBlack's loses this fight, well, that's a problem. Assuming that he's flashed, we'll see Wog push up. Great crossfire established by Hugzord inside of Kids' dorms. They'll take him out and give NiP a massive disadvantage here heading in. Hugzord finished off, though, as Pino gets one. Kamikaze is there on Big Window. A great repel and has utility as well to dump in if required, though he will be stopped for just a second on these toxic canisters. I don't know if he can actually see through that wall or not, if it's opened up. But there you go. And Impact is going to get tossed in two, actually, as he's starved of utility. Ion coming back to site, swings in, and they'll take out Pino, and Julio is there as the only member. Once again, the Thermite will be in the final position, but his position is known. He's got an Evil Eye to watch one angle, and the Smoke to watch the other. And that will be very quick for GDN, as he just needs one shot from the shotgun at very close range to give Black Dragons a massive round for them. Keep in mind here that this is a no-win situation for Black Dragons. The most they can do is fight for a draw. They've still got 3 more rounds to accomplish that. But we're going to keep on match point for NiP as we go the entire distance.
So we'll be going back downstairs here for Black Dragons, the first site they defended and the first site they were successful on for this map. Now, because of that, it looks like Black Dragons are going to push us to that 4-6. All things considered, though, I mean, last time we saw the basement defended by Black Dragons, it was a rush for Ninjas of Pyjamas, which means there's plenty of potential for a successful attack from NiP if they play their cards right, if they maybe just don't rush in through basement. Panic are going to be the one actually playing Doc this time around instead of iBlacks, who will be playing the Maestro. So they bought the double ACOG. Possible spawn peek. We'll see what happens.
Locate and defuse as many bombs as they
They
can.
have,
I can't imagine they would go for a spawn peek.
I mean, it worked out for them twice, didn't it?
Worked out for them once,
Oh, yeah.
and then they lost, and then I think the rest of the round really snowballed after that.
Oh, you know what it was? I was thinking of Ninjas Pyjamas, who also had that tower defense, where they were just all outside.
Yeah, Psycho just jumped out of every window.
Psycho's been really on point throughout this whole match. You can see there are 14 kills. He's been having a fantastic day individually. And a big part of why Ninja Pyjamas right now find themselves on match point.
10 seconds.
Now this defense overall looks to be set up very similar to how it was the last time Black Dragons went here. What I'm really curious about is how Ninja Pyjamas are going to choose to attack this site, because again, the last time they were here, they rushed, and it did not work out.
Yeah.
I do not expect that a second time around.
No. All right, so what are we going to see here inside of this lobby? I'm very critical of smokes that play a little bit too aggressively here because their utility is vital, especially on this site in particular. You've got both iBlacks and GDN not sitting inside of the site right now. You could theoretically be losing two of your best plant denial operators early, simply due to your own negligence in regards to where you put them.
I would agree that those are probably two of the worst operators to have on a row. You still have Panico, though, the Doc. And given this lineup, he is the ideal operator to be here on the deep roam, going for that T3 control. And Ninja Pyjamas putting a lot of emphasis on taking him out. We've got the Dokkaebi, who's going to use the phone call to distract Panico, but he's not going to be too wary of it. His position already given away, it's not going to change too much.
That audio cue is going to be huge here, as Pino does have a frag grenade available. Just sails over the head of Panico, juice himself back up, and actually give him a bit more sustain to be able to survive one of those frag grenades, but he's going to get traded out as Psycho is there from below, and the Alda of iBlacks is not suitable to be able to take out Psycho. Oh, that's a miss from Psycho, who'll blind himself and could have possibly been able to grab the Maestro. Get 2 for the price of 1 there if that flashbang had have missed, or hadn't have missed its target under that small window inside of Attic.
It's going to be a kill onto the Maestro regardless, though, as Kamikaze finds the angle through the drop on iBlacks. And on Black Dragons, on match point, currently in a 3 versus 5, are looking like they're going to end this match a little bit faster than I'm sure they would have wanted. Now, we still have decent anchors play by the B bomb site. We've got the mirror window, and we've got the smoke gas canisters. So that's a pretty big factor, but this is huge as well. Ion has been spotted out by Ninjas Pyjamas. His position given away. He will be basically a free kill when he decides to go for that inevitable flank. He's aware that his position has been given away, and he's going to relocate down to the site. The right call.
He's still got another goo mine, so he will leave a trail of those barbs in his wake, which means that if there is a push over on Laundry Room side of things, it'll be noted from Black Dragons. This allows BD to turn their entire focus towards the back stairs and towards the supply room doors, which is exactly where Nip is going to come from. And they'll start things off with a logic bomb. Hugsor getting caught in the cross with 2 bodies from BD dropping, and GDN is the last man. And the lone survivor will be outplayed, outwitted, and he will not outlast the remaining members of NIP. And this one will be a little bit more back and forth, but still a very quick matchup so far, as we've got a 7-2 victory for Immortals and now a 7-3 for Ninjas in Pyjamas as well. And they will once again stay even with Immortals with 10 points at the top of the standings.
I did not expect those last 3 players downstairs to not get a single kill on that hold. They, unfortunately for them, very poorly positioned themselves, and it ended up costing them the round. They had